Thank you. And I would really much like to thank the organizers for this event, and it's really nice that we have the opportunity to meet all the colleagues and friends again after some years. And also thanks for the colleagues for very insightful presentations we have heard so far. A short recap from the Finnish river basin management governance setting. The mainland of Finland is divided into 7 river basin districts, out of which 2 are international, between Sweden and Norway. The Åland Islands are preparing their own river basin management plans. We have regional environmental authorities, the 13 centers for economic development, transport and the environment, responsible for preparation of the plans, and the ministries of Agriculture and Forestry and Ministry of the Environment are guiding the enforcement of the implementation of the legislation. And the Water Framework Directive is implemented in national legislation, mainly in the Act on River Basin Management and Marine Strategy, the Water Act and the Environmental Act. The Water Act mainly regulates the water permits, and the Environmental Protection Act and water pollution. Last December, our government approved the 7 river basin management plans for mainland Finland, and a notification letter was sent to the Commission in March this year about the approval of the plans. The Supreme Administrative Court received 5 appeals regarding the plans. The appeals were mainly about classification of individual water bodies. However, according to the national legislation, the plans can be implemented regardless of the appeals, unless the court specifically forbids the implementation, and this is not the case. So we are currently implementing the plans as usual, and the court will give its decision at some point in the future. Some lessons learned from the government approval of the river basin management plans. We have especially 3 topics that raised discussion with the stakeholders and within the government. The first one was related to the classification of heavily modified water bodies, and especially on assessing the impacts of mitigation measures on hydropower production and regulatory power. And as a result, for the next river basin management plans and for the next classification period, we are setting up a project to improve the assessment of the impacts for regulatory power. Then another issue was the Weser ruling and its implications on private companies, especially on the economic of the society. The stakeholders were challenging the classification and I would also say perhaps misinterpreting the implications the Weser ruling might have on the permits. And there are also now, after the Weser ruling, new actors interested in river basin management, and we identified that in the future we need more stakeholder participation and awareness raising related to also the legal status of the plans. And thirdly, then, the management of diffuse pollution, which is the main pressure of the Finnish water bodies. especially the management of agricultural loading was discussed, and even though the CAP strategic plan was prepared at the same time and the objectives of river basin management plans were included in the CAP strategic plan as far as possible, we identified some funding gap and also need to target the measures where they are most effective. And this was also discussed in the last fall before the government approval. At the moment, during this governmental period now from year 2019, we have had some governmental programs that support the implementation of the plans. This water protection program, for example, has measures aimed to reduce the agricultural loading. For example, farmers are able to apply for funding or apply for gypsum treatment of their fields, and also some other agricultural measures have been applied. And I think over 500 watercourses restoration projects have been funded. Then also we have a migratory fish program which aims at removing barriers and building bypasses in hydropower plants and restoration of spawning areas and other habitats in rivers. And we of course need to continue, we are trying to continue and working for another period of funding during the next governmental period. I'm not going into detail on the plans itself, but a few words from the exemptions. For the first time, now less stringent objectives were applied in Finland. We had 4 surface water bodies and 1 groundwater bodies that were applied with the less stringent objectives. These all water bodies have historical long-lasting pollution that has kind of changed the water bodies permanently in a way that it's technically infeasible to achieve good status. In addition, now for the first time, a bit over 300 water bodies had this deadline for achieving the objectives extended beyond 2027 based on natural conditions. We are working on the electronic reporting of the river basin management plans for the EEA. The Finnish Environment Institute is responsible authority for the reporting, and they have been working hard for more than half a year now. We have faced some challenges, even though the progress has been good, and we hope to report electronically also in the near future. The challenges we have been facing have been technical, related to the reporting schemas and differences between the reporting schemas and the guidance documents, causing some syntax errors in the reporting. But also we have faced some challenges with the quality assurance and quality check mechanisms that have been put in place after the last reporting. Now during the summer we have also been kind of preparing for the next planning cycle. We have gathered feedback from experts and stakeholders that were involved during the last implementation period, and we have put up a plan for the next planning cycle, and we're kind of trying to improve the governance setting for the river basin management plans. And the objective of the work was to better support the regional authorities who are doing the preparing the plans and save resources for implementation of the plan. We had the same objective also like 6 years ago, of saving resources and kind of trying to do things lighter, but the practice has shown that the preparation of river basin management plans need some assessments that has to be done, and there's in the preparation process there is not so much work to save, but by developing the modes of cooperation and preparation of the plans, we can take the loose out of the process kind of and save the working time of the experts in that sense. And also we have the strong aim to improve the communication and information sharing, so that we would be able to support also in this sense the planning work. I'm not going into detail with the governance structure here, but just want to highlight that we have been putting the Marine Strategy Framework Directive work and the river basin management planning work together in the national groups. We have a common steering group and a common cooperation group, and also we will establish, for example, common coordination group for the programs of measures, so that in the next plans we will have even more coordinated measures between the marine strategy and river basin management plans. Finally, a few words about data management and information systems. We are improving or renewing our data management system at the moment. We have this project called Pisara that has been now running for a couple of years. It started with the establishment of data management system for marine environment. This year the data management system for groundwater planning has been under process, and next year we will start with the surface water tools. Then in addition, the programs of measures have now been translated into an electronic portal where stakeholders and citizens can find all the programs of measures in one place in digital form, and they can be viewed in map view or some other nice figures and charts can be shown, and they contain the same information that the traditional published program of measures. That's all from my side. Thanks.